Discipline hurts. It's inconvenient, it's boring. It doesn't give you applause, dopamine, or comfort. And that's exactly why most men avoid it. They tell themselves they're thinking about it, waiting for the right time, or not in the mood. But deep down they're running, from structure, from effort, from growth. And while they run from pain, weakness builds a home inside them. Weakness is not always loud. Sometimes it wears the mask of pleasure, comfort, and freedom. But it's a parasite. It convinces you to skip the workout, delay the plan, eat the junk, say tomorrow, and then it drains your potential, silently. But here's the truth. Discipline is pain with a purpose. It's the kind of pain that builds you, not breaks you. The kind of suffering that sharpens your mind, strengthens your body, and gives your soul structure. It's the difference between the man who conquers his life and the one who watches others live. If you're tired of feeling stuck, soft, or invisible, this video is your turning point. Not a motivational boost, a wake-up call. Because after this, you'll understand. Discipline hurts, but weakness will destroy you. Every man wakes up every morning with two voices inside his head. One says, "Stay in bed, you've earned it." The other says, "Get up, you're not done yet." One tells you to rest, the other tells you to rise. And that split-second moment, between obeying comfort or commanding yourself, defines who you are becoming. You see, the average man thinks discipline is a task, a burden, a checklist. But the disciplined man understands something deeper. Discipline is identity. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are without applause. It's about what you choose when no one's watching, when no one is clapping, when your bed is warm and your excuses are loud. That's the battlefield. You can wear all the fancy quotes about greatness. You can say, "I want more out of life." But until you learn to say no to yourself, you'll never hold power. Why? Because the first person you must conquer is you. Your laziness, your cravings, your excuses. These are not just bad habits, they are chains. And if you do not break them, they will own you. They will wrap around your future. And one day you'll wake up surrounded by all the dreams you abandoned. Not because you weren't capable, but because you were too soft to suffer. Let that hit you. Now let's be honest. Discipline doesn't feel good. That's the point. It's early mornings when your body screams, "Not today." It's training when your muscles burn. It's silence when your anger wants to explode. It's choosing broccoli over pleasure. It's showing up to build when nobody sees results. But here's the secret the weak never learn. Every moment of pain you endure willingly sharpens you. Every no you say to comfort makes your mind louder and your emotions quieter. And that power, it compounds. Day after day, repetition after repetition, sacrifice after sacrifice. And soon, you're no longer begging for motivation. You are the motivation. You become the type of man others look at and say, "How the hell does he do it?" Simple. He stopped making decisions based on feelings. He chose the hard path so his future would be softer. He embraced the pain now, so he wouldn't drown in regret later. Because weakness doesn't show up all at once. It arrives like a fog, slowly, quietly, politely. It tells you, skip the gym just once. Eat that crap, it's been a long day. Scroll a little longer, you'll start tomorrow. And before you know it, you're no longer steering your life. You're a passenger, watching time pass. Watching other men build the life you dream of. Watching yourself fade from your own potential. Understand this, discipline is not punishment. It is protection. Protection from your worst impulses. Protection from mediocrity. Protection from regret. It is the only weapon a man has against his own self-destruction. And every time you choose discipline, you're not just checking a box. You're planting a flag. You're saying, "I am not here to be ruled by urges. I am not a slave to ease. I command myself." That kind of man becomes unstoppable. That kind of man walks into a room and doesn't need to speak. You feel his presence not because he's loud, but because his character screams louder than any words. This is what discipline builds. Not just abs or bank accounts, but presence, power, unshakable will. And the best part? It's not something you're born with. It's something you build, brick by brick. One cold shower, one early morning, one hard conversation, one sacrifice at a time, and yes, it hurts. But every time it hurts, remember, that pain is not your enemy. It's your proof. Proof that you're no longer choosing the easy life. You're choosing the earned life. Here's a brutal truth they don't teach you in school. Motivation is a lie. It's unreliable, emotional, slippery. Motivation is that friend who hypes you up one day, then ghosts you the next. You can't build a life on that kind of inconsistency. You can't sculpt greatness with tools that vanish when life gets hard. That's why the most dangerous man alive is not the man who feels inspired. It's the man who acts the same whether he feels like it or not. Discipline is doing it when it's boring, when it's thankless, when it's invisible, when no one will clap and no one will care. Because the real game is not about winning in public. It's about winning in private, over and over, until the scoreboard can't ignore you anymore. This is why weak men fade. They chase hype. They wait for permission. They treat their purpose like a mood. I'll build when I'm in the mood. I'll grow when I feel ready. Let me say this clearly. Readiness is a trap. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait your entire life. Readiness doesn't come before action. It comes from action. Start showing up like it's war. Wake up like it's your last chance to make your mark. And when the world offers you 1,000 reasons to fold, you give it one reason not to. You said you would. That's it. You don't need fireworks. You don't need a why written in neon lights. You need one thing: to honor your own word. Because when you keep promises to yourself, something changes. Your spine straightens. Your eyes sharpen. Your soul catches fire. You no longer speak from insecurity. You speak from conviction. People feel that. People respect that. But most importantly, you respect that. That's what separates a man who pretends to lead from a man who actually leads. A man who disciplines himself leads even in silence, even when no one's watching, even when it costs him. Why? Because he's not looking for applause. He's looking for alignment. And that alignment is rare. It's sacred. And once you taste it, you never go back to the numbness of distraction and mediocrity. But here's the catch. It's a lonely road. Nobody claps for your 5 a.m. workouts. Nobody sees the pain behind your progress. Nobody understands the weight you carry in silence. And that's exactly why you must not stop. Because every time you choose the hard path, the lonely path, the righteous path, you rise. Not just in results, but in rank. You elevate in the eyes of men. Because you've conquered something they couldn't, themselves. And you start to see it in how you speak and how you walk, in the stillness of your mind when others panic. That's the reward discipline gives. You stop reacting. You start ruling. Ruling over your thoughts. Ruling over your impulses. Ruling over the chaos around you. And don't get it twisted. The world will try to break that. It will throw you fake pleasures, fast dopamine, soft alternatives. But a man of discipline doesn't chase softness. He doesn't want it easy. He wants it earned. Why? Because he knows. What comes easy is taken lightly. But what is earned becomes unshakable. Your body becomes a temple. Your mind becomes a fortress. Your spirit becomes a fire no storm can kill. And here's where it gets real. You can fake confidence, you can fake motivation, but you can't fake discipline. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't, every crack in your life will expose it. Every failed commitment, every wasted day, every broken promise. Those are the scars of a man who's surrendered to comfort. But not you. You've come too far. You've hurt too long. You've tasted what mediocrity does to the soul, and you're done. So from this moment forward, no more skipping. No more waiting. No more explaining. Discipline is your only path out, not motivation, not hacks, not shortcuts, just brutal, daily, unshakable discipline. Now here's where the average man taps out, but you won't. Because in the next chapter, we'll go deeper. We're going to confront the emotional sabotage that keeps men weak, the quiet habits that destroy your will without you noticing, and how to build a mind that no one, not even life itself, can break. So stay sharp, because the next lesson will either rebuild your fire or expose how close you are to losing it. You know the voice I'm talking about, the one that whispers, just skip today, start tomorrow. You've done enough. That voice isn't your friend. It's your executioner. And every time you obey it, a piece of you dies. Not physically, not immediately, but spiritually, bit by bit, until you're just a shell, breathing, working, pretending, but dead inside. That voice is weakness disguised as comfort. And if you don't silence it, it becomes your master. So how do you kill it? You confront it. Not with anger, not with panic, but with the one thing it can't manipulate: truth. See, that voice thrives on distortion. It exaggerates pain. It minimizes consequences. It tells you what you want to hear, not what you need to do. But when you get radically honest, you strip it of power. Let me give you an example. You wake up tired. The voice says, "Skip the gym today, rest is important." Sounds reasonable, right? But here's the truth. You're not tired. You're untrained. And discipline doesn't negotiate with fatigue. It trains through it. Because comfort has never built anything worthy. It has never sculpted strength, forged greatness, or made history. Only suffering does that. Voluntary, focused, repeated suffering. And no, I don't mean chaos or recklessness. I mean structured, chosen hardship. The kind of pain you pick, because the version of you on the other side is worth it. Every rep, every early morning, every rejection, every hour alone building something no one sees. That's your forge. And that voice? It's trying to pull you out of the fire before you're ready. But you're not leaving. You'll burn if you have to. Because pain with purpose is sacred. And you'd rather bleed building than rot avoiding. That's how you silence weakness. You outwork it. You outlast it. You outlive it. And slowly something changes. The voice loses volume. You stop negotiating. You stop checking how you feel. You just do. That's when life gets simple. Not easy. Simple. Because your identity becomes non-negotiable. You're no longer a man with goals. You're a man with a code. And when you live by a code, people notice. They can't explain it, but they feel it. In the way you stand, in the way you speak, in the way you show up every single time. You stop being one of the crowd. You become the one people look to when the crowd is scared. You become fire in a cold world. But understand this, that voice never truly dies. It adapts. It evolves. When it can't stop you with laziness, it tries guilt. When that fails, it tries distraction, then entitlement, then ego. That's why your war is never over. You just get better at winning. And the better you get, the more people will try to pull you back. They'll call you obsessed. They'll call you too intense. They'll say you've changed. They're right. You have. You killed the version of you that settled. And they miss him, because he made them feel safe. But that man is gone. And if they want to stay in your life, they'll either rise with you or be left behind. Now here's what I want you to do. Pause, breathe, reflect. Ask yourself this. Where is that voice winning right now? Where have you been negotiating your greatness? What have you been tolerating that a disciplined man would crush? Then comment below and own it. Why? Because calling it out is the first step to killing it. Drop it in the comments. I read every one of them. And when you do, you're not just speaking to me, you're speaking to yourself. You're drawing the line. You're planting your flag. And while you're here, hit the like button. Not for me, for you. To mark this moment to say, this is where the weak me ends and the real me begins. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Because every week we go deeper, into mindset, into discipline, into dominance. And I promise you, this channel will become your weapon. But only if you're ready to bleed for your growth. And in the next chapter, we go where most men never dare. We'll confront emotional numbness, the silent killer of purpose, the reason why most men feel empty even when they succeed, and more importantly, how to awaken the part of you that feels alive again. So don't miss it, because the real war has just begun. It's not when you cry. It's not when you're angry. It's not even when you're afraid. The most dangerous moment in a man's life is when he feels nothing. No fire, no hunger, no fight. Just apathy. You move, but you're not going anywhere. You wake up, but nothing wakes in you. You smile, but it's empty. And you think, Maybe I'm just burned out. Maybe this is life now. Maybe I'll feel again one day. But you won't. Not unless you force the spark. Because life doesn't hand you aliveness. It demands it. And most men go to their graves never realizing they were never really alive to begin with. Why? Because comfort sedated them. Entertainment pacified them. Addiction numbed them. And avoidance devoured them. They looked successful. They sounded smart. But deep inside, they were hollow. They stopped chasing hard things. They stopped embracing pain. And when you stop choosing pain, the world starts assigning it to you. You get soft. And then life punishes you for it. Your body decays. Your mind drifts. Your soul rusts. And slowly, your only goal becomes avoid discomfort. But here's the truth. If you want to feel alive again, you have to start bleeding on purpose. You have to move into fear, lean into exhaustion, step toward the unknown. Because that's where your soul wakes up. Not in your bed, not on your phone, not in your comfort zone, but in the fight. Think back. When was the last time you felt truly alive? I bet it was when you were tested. Maybe it was building something. Maybe it was losing everything. Maybe it was in the gym. Maybe it was alone in the dark, deciding not to give up. That's the thread. That's the pulse. That's the path back. You don't need more comfort. You need confrontation. Confront the man in the mirror and ask, where did I quit and pretend I didn't? What fire did I let die just to keep the peace? What discipline did I abandon because no one else was watching? And more importantly, who could I become if I lit the match again? You see, aliveness isn't a feeling, it's a frequency. And discipline is the dial. You tune into life through action. You build clarity by moving forward. You earn confidence by doing what scares you, even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. Because discipline isn't about becoming robotic. It's about becoming real. The kind of real that can suffer and still speak truth. That can stand alone and not tremble. That can walk through fire and not beg for rain. But none of that happens until you say enough. Enough numbness, enough comfort. Enough being a stranger in your own life. So today, right now, I want you to do something hard. Something small, but deliberate. Go lift. Go run. Sit still for 30 minutes with no phone. Write down what you've been avoiding. Say no to that thing you always cave to. Do it not because it will fix your life overnight. Do it to remind yourself, I still have control. I still have power. I still have fire. And the more you act from that fire, the more it grows. But here's what separates the few from the many. The few stay in the fire. They live there. And eventually the fire doesn't burn them anymore. It brands them. Marks them with a presence the world can't ignore. You walk into a room differently when you suffer by choice. You speak with gravity. You stand with conviction. Because you know, no one gave you this. You earned it. In silence. And it's yours forever. And before we move to the final act, boys, if any part of this spoke to you, hit that like button right now. Let the algorithm know this message matters, so it can reach the man out there who's about to give up. And drop a comment. What one habit are you committing to this week that will make you feel alive again? Let's hold each other to it. Let's light this fire. And let's never go numb again. Because in the next chapter, we face the final truth. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about resurrection. When your world collapses, when your dream dies, when you fail publicly and fall hard, discipline is the only thing that brings you back from the ashes, and you won't want to miss it. Let's say your life just collapsed. The business failed, the marriage ended, your reputation's in the dirt. You look around and think, it's over. But is it? No. What ended was the illusion. What died was your old identity. The version of you that thought everything would stay safe, controlled, comfortable. But you're still here, breathing, watching this, feeling the sting of loss, which means you're still alive. And now comes the most important choice you'll ever make. Will you stay in the rubble or rise through discipline? Because hear me, discipline is not just about doing hard things. It's about becoming someone who can no longer be destroyed. People think strength comes from success, but real strength is forged in the ruins. Discipline is the hammer that rebuilds you. stronger, wiser, quieter. See, when life breaks you, there's no motivational quote that fixes it. There's no friend that saves you, there's just you. And the decision, I rise. One rep at a time, one page at a time, one brutal morning at a time. And in that process, not only do you rebuild what you lost, you become someone who never needed it in the first place. Because here's the truth. Most people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of the identity collapse that follows it. They cling to titles, to relationships, to routines, because without them, they don't know who they are. But when you walk the path of discipline, you stop relying on identity, and you start relying on integrity. You don't need to be the CEO, the husband, the genius. You just need to be the man who doesn't quit. And that man, he can lose everything and rise again. Because he knows his habits are fireproof, his word is unshakable, his actions are louder than pain. Let me ask you, what if you trained yourself so deeply that when the world falls, you rise instinctively? You don't overthink. You don't panic, you just act. The alarm goes off, you get up, the weight feels heavy, you lift it. The world laughs, you keep building. You're alone, you show up anyway. This isn't motivation, it's programming. And the more you walk in it, the less you need to think. Because you've replaced emotion with motion, confusion with conviction, fear with form. Yes, discipline hurts, but it also heals. It's the scar that reminds you, I've been through worse, and I chose to keep going. And that's a man no one can control. Not society, not culture, not even his past. Because he's not trying to impress anyone. He's not trying to prove anything. He's just showing up every damn day, with eyes forward, mouth shut, fists clenched, and heart on fire. This is what resurrection looks like. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, and no one claps. But slowly, silently, you become someone even you admire. And that's priceless. Because in a world chasing applause, you become a man chasing alignment. In a world seeking comfort, you become a man seeking consequence. And in a world full of quitters, you become a man who simply doesn't. So if your life is hard right now, if you're tired, lonely, lost, remember this: you are not being punished, you are being forged. And if you stay the course, if you show up every day with honor, humility, and hunger, there will come a moment, quiet, private, maybe even unnoticeable, where something inside you says, I'm back. Not the old you, not the broken version, but the beast you were always meant to become. That's what discipline does. It doesn't just make you strong, it resurrects you. Let's be real. No one's coming to save you. There's no applause for discipline, no spotlight for showing up when you're broken, no reward for walking through fire without screaming. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. Discipline is sacred because it's unseen. It's what you do when no one's clapping. It's who you become when no one's watching. And that's why it matters more than anything. The world will sell you 1,000 shortcuts. Follow your feelings. Wait for the right moment. Take it easy. But you've seen where that path leads. Weakness, regret, resentment. You weren't built for that. You were built to stand up when it hurts, to rise when it's dark, to walk when your legs are shaking. You were built for discipline, not because it's glamorous, but because it's the only way to become someone you respect. So let the world chase comfort. Let them laugh, quit, coast, complain. You walk forward. Silent, relentless, unstoppable. Because deep down, you know the truth. Discipline hurts, but weakness destroys you. And you've already made your choice. Now make it again tomorrow. And the next day. And the next. Until one day the pain is gone. The weakness is gone. And all that's left is a man of steel. If this video lit a fire inside you, prove it. Drop a comment below with the word unbreakable, so I know you're one of us. And don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This channel is here to keep you sharp, focused, and unshakable. Now, if you're ready for the next level, click the video on your screen right now and learn with Rocky Balboa that it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. Your fight's not over. You've just begun.